Okay, so did you play sports as a child?
I did.
So what kind of sports did you play?
Well, I played softball, but I was a big swimmer, and my mother, who can't swim, was always afraid of me drowning because I would always run to the deep end, and she was always grabbing me because I was ready to go in the water. So I started learning how to swim when I was 3, and I swam all through. I swam in the neighborhood pool in the summer. We had a swim team conference. I did some AAU swimming. I swam in high school. William Jewell offered me a swimming scholarship by that time, but by that time I was kind of done with the swimming. So, but I swam and I even dove.
How did you get into swimming and sports?
Well, swimming, like I said, I couldn't stay out of the deep end. I love the water. I always swam. And during the summer, the swimming pool down the street was the hangout. So if you started off the morning, you were doing swim team practice, then diving practice, and then you'd go home and you worked at the pool. You were either working in the concession stand or in the office, and then eventually I was lifeguarding, and then at nights, the evenings, there were the swim team meets. It was just where I lived all summer long, and I loved the water.
How old were you when you started playing sports?
I think after around 3 I got swimming lessons, and I remember like I was 5 years old. Back then, you could walk down to the pool by yourself. You didn't need parents. But I remember I was like 5 years old, and I looked at my mother and father and said, I signed up for the swim team, and I'm going to be on it. And I didn't ask permission. I just told them I was going to. And that was it.
What type of organizations did you play for? Like school, like your country club,
Well, I grew up in Raytown. So Raytown, they had their conference. I'm so old I can't even remember what it was called. But there was Carnegie Park and, oh my gosh, I can't remember but through the YMCA and the Parks Department of Raytown, they had little conference leagues. And then with our swimming pool, we swam, it was a neighborhood pool, so the Southbrook Estates, and we swam against Woodson Estates, and we swam against Oakwood, and we swam against Quivira. I mean, I don't know how they arranged it, but these communities would have pools, and we just competed against other neighborhoods or areas of Kansas and Missouri. And I even remember swimming at, oh God, it was a lake. Oh, I can't remember what it was, but it was somewhere here in Kansas. And I remember I was a backstroker, and I got up, and they didn't really have a block. You were kind of holding on to the pier, and they had the metal, and I put my feet up on the metal to get up so I could do my dive. And as soon as I put my feet on it, they slid down from the moss. But most of the time we swam in pools. But it was Lake Quivira, or I don't remember what it was called, but it was somewhere here in Kansas that we swam.
That's cool. When did you stop playing competitive sports, and why? What was the reason?
Okay, I basically stopped by the time when I was in college. I did dance team in college, so that was a lot of practice and a lot of work. And doing the Chiefs, the cheerleading, that was a lot of work because we would always, we would go lift weights and stuff. But a lot of that all stopped as soon as I started teaching, and I became a coach or a sponsor. And that's when it stopped, was when I didn't have the personal time to do it myself because I was working with students and helping them how to develop that love, that passion, and those skills.
Have you had health issues related to any of the sports you've played?
I am healthy as a horse, and my mother has, I don't know, the DNA of a cockroach because they have been around since the dinosaur. I just have that kind of crazy DNA. I really don't have any issues. I had sciatica because I'm old, but it doesn't bother me.
Okay. Do you think that sports affect women's place in society, and how?
I think that sports does affect women's place in society because I think that it's empowering, and it gives them the idea that there's something else that they can do and they can compete at a professional level. Sometimes I don't think society has caught up with that thinking, but absolutely, a woman can do so much, and sports gives a young woman so much confidence and ability to do things like the laps and laps and laps that I swam that I didn't want to swim, and I choked on some water because it came back on me, but I still did it because I knew I was going to get better, and it gives you that tenacity to go on. And so absolutely, sports are important.
Do you think that sports affect men's place in society?
Yes, because everybody, look at the crazy salaries just for that alone, the insane salaries that they earn and what they do and can't get away with. Oh yes, it's a very misogynistic avenue.
Would your life be different without sports, and how?
Yes, my life would be different without sports because I wouldn't be as tough or strong as I am, and being 53 years old, because I was easy. Swimming is easier on your body than running because I didn't have to work against gravity and the beating of that. I still have a lot of muscle tone and muscle mass that I had from swimming, and it's kept me, I haven't had those injuries because of swimming, and I think that I don't know where I would be without swimming, because I know that I can do that, and if I can do something like that, what else can I do? I'm not afraid to dive in and try.
What sports are you a fan of?
I like basketball, I like football, my husband does racing, and I don't know if but he does, it's like chump car, it's like the poor man's NASCAR. But I think anything that's fun, and the thing that I don't like about sports are when people lose their minds and say things and yell things at refs or other players, or that part of sports I hate. It's a game. Get over it. But, I like to watch a lot of things, and I think that I just have respect for those people that give their lives up to compete, like for the Olympics and what they do. So it's just neat to watch someone perfecting their skill and then performing it.
How much time do you allocate to sports on a weekly basis?
Well, like I said, I don't really get to do a lot anymore, but I know that, the cheerleaders, there's 3 hours there. They're doing more of the work that I do. I do get up and learn the routines and stuff because I like doing them. And it's boring just sitting there watching. I'd rather be a participant than an observer.
How much money does or did it cost you to participate in your sports?
Well, it was swimming, and all you needed was a swimming suit. You didn't really have to have a swimming cap. We all had little rubber bands. Goggles were a big thing. Ooh, those were awesome. But at the time, goggles didn't stay on your face when you dove in, so they were more of a hindrance. So basically, a membership to the pool, which was a family membership, and a swimming suit. And they bought team suits, and they collect them at the end of the year and wash them and pack them, and then they distribute them out the next year. So I know, but it was not any money.
What positive or negative aspects does or did sports bring to your life?
I think they brought, even if you lost, you had to learn how to lose graciously. So even though that might be a negative, it was a positive. But the same thing is when you win, you have to be a gracious winner. You don't rub it in somebody's face, because you're not always going to be on top. And somebody is going to be right at your heels, ready to pass you up on the next thing. So I think it's just to take everything in stride. You might be the golden boy or the golden girl at that moment, but a minute later, somebody's taking your place.
Were your children active in sports, and did you coach their sports team?
My husband coached my daughter's softball team, and he almost lost his mind when the girls started to kick the ball as it came to him instead of coming and picking it up. So that didn't last very long. But my daughter, she was big in dancing and cheer, and that's what she did. And no, I could not coach my own daughter because it would make me crazy, and her and I are too much alike, so it's easier to coach other people's children.
Do you think that sports takes away time from your job?
you know, you make time for things you love.